What dirty little secret does your profession hide that the consumer should know? Valet driver here. Don't leave your drugs in the car. A kid took a pound out of a customer's car a few years back, and the dude came back flipping out, screaming at the manager. When the manager finally asked what was stolen and he told him weed, my manager just said, "Oh, well, you can file a police report then." I am a welder for a company that builds roller coasters. Every single weld is inspected and x-rayed for any defect, so I guess this doesn't apply, but just so everyone can feel a little bit safer, I figured I'd let you internet people know. Every driver of a truck has nodded off at one time or another, making them an 80,000-pound death missile. Plumber. I make over half my money using one tool that costs $50, and a skill that can be learned in 20 minutes. The tool is a shifter, and the skill is knowing how to pull apart and install taps. Drain snakes and plungers are how I make almost all the rest. That almost is the reason I need all of my other tools. I get paid to tell you what your employees have been telling you. GM of a rental car company here. Do not under any circumstances buy additional roadside assistance or premium roadside assistance. Essentially, every new car comes with 5 years of free roadside assistance from the manufacturer. As long as you weren't off-roading, just give the manufacturer's RSA hotline the VIN and mileage, and you are good to go. If I start CPR on you, you have about a 5% chance to survive. I still try my hardest. It's not uncommon for assistants and apprentices to make the art of really famous, well-known, expensive artists. The artist might be very involved in the process or barely involved. They can have studios with dozens of assistants churning out all of their work, and then just sign their name to it. And I'm not just talking about sculptures or art installations where assistants might be doing the grunt work. Even paintings could be barely touched by the actual artist. I used to work for a major package delivery service, unloading semi-trailers. The flat-screen TV you ordered for Christmas was under a gun safe and a lift kit for a truck. Same past job. If your box looks a little bit crushed, it was probably one of the 20 that were wedged together in a chute somewhere along the belt line that took all of the strength someone could to unwedge. If you're going to ship something, make sure it can survive a fall from chest height. FedEx office doesn't recycle. I've personally killed probably close to an acre of forest. Waited for a long time to post this so it'd get buried. Doctor here. I'll see a patient Monday morning in the hospital, work all night, and then Tuesday morning in the hospital, and I won't have slept in the 24 hours in between. And this is totally normal and accepted practice in medicine. When I was in college, I asked my primary care physician if he thought I should become a doctor. He told me, "If you want to work like a gentleman, become a lawyer. Doctors work like animals," for many years. I'm now a lawyer and have zero regrets. I have no idea how you guys do it. Engineering is nowhere close to being as accurate or precise as people think. In the legal profession, the most difficult asshole in the entire case is often your own client. Legacy programmer here. All of the debt from your houses, your parents' and your landlord's houses, and increasingly all of your credit card, consumer, and student loan debt are all being processed on 24-hour cycles on a system backbone that was written well before I was born. And I'm old, in Reddit terms. I work in mortgage servicing and tinker with the spiderwebs that hold up the economy as we know it. It's pretty complex because everything runs on spit and promises, and is equal parts sunshine and darkness. We find ways to squeeze tiny bits of performance improvements out of an impossible system so that we can immediately put more load on it. If you want to guarantee yourself years of work in an environment you'll probably hate, learn to code in COBOL. Most of the people in my department are within a decade of retirement if they live that long. Our company pays college kids to learn on the job now because there are no new COBOL programmers. I hate it. It's a chore to get up and go in every day. It's my dream job and I'm lucky to have it. If you're sitting at a blackjack table and aren't sure what play to make, ask the dealer. No, seriously, we're trained to know the official blackjack strategy guide and are allowed to give you that information, considered common knowledge. If the dealer doesn't know it offhand, their supervisor should have a copy of it and will help you out. Tech startups. Many places spend almost no time or effort on security. It's a race to add features and patch over major bugs to try and get some kind of revenue stream before funding runs out. Security isn't a problem until it is, so it's always on the back burner. Anyone who's ever been at a vehicle assembly plant knows that most cars have a quality of about 80% of their specifications, and they're sold that way to everyone. Many of the books you read, especially romance, aren't written by the person whose name is on the cover. Most romance books are ghostwritten and bought by someone else, often a man, I found, and published under a female's name with a fake bio. How do I know this? I'm a ghostwriter. A lot of people think the military is synonymous with discipline and top-tier job training. I've seen things that would make a McDonald's worker think that their job is pretty high class. People in the kitchen and in factories also go to work when they feel ill, and you most likely have eaten something someone sneezed on, because there is a line between feeling so sick that you can't get out of bed and coughing and sneezing once in a while. Busting out of a throwaway for this one, only because I work for quite a big company that probably does have the resources to identify me by my Reddit account. I work in mobile phone sales for a mobile network. One of the biggest things we'll get you on is upgrades. Once your phone contract is due to expire and you're eligible to upgrade your plan and get a new handset, most people just come into the store, find a phone they like on a plan that they like, and take the first price offered to them. Others will ask if we can negotiate the price. We'll tell you no, and for the most part that's true. Call through to cancellation teams. I've seen the cancellation teams make some insane deals for people on monthly contracts, lowering people to plans on devices that would normally have upfronts in the triple digits, and just wiping them without a second thought. Contracts where the customer is paying almost no premium on the phone or getting the airtime for next to nothing. It's insane. This also applies to your broadband at home. Once your introductory offer is gone, most of the time you can call up and have it regraded back to the introductory offer or the new offer if there's a better one. Never leave your broadband rolling for longer than the minimum contract term, because I guarantee you'll almost always be able to get a better deal from the same company. Got any 4G tablets or portable Wi-Fi devices with your phone plan as well? Well, first of all, let me thank you for helping me survive. The cross-sell is basically what we live for in those jobs. New connections are what the guys up top hound us for. I bet you don't know the mobile numbers attached to those devices, do you? Who would? You never use them. When they're eligible for upgrade, a lot of salespeople will do it as a new connection rather than an upgrade in order to get a new unit added on, then cancel off your old one, or give you instructions on doing that. Check first if your carrier offers any benefit to upgrading those devices, because sometimes there are customer loyalty benefits attached to these sorts of upgrades. In order to prevent us from doing it this way, in the UK at least, your mobile carrier legally must unlock your device for free if it's outside of contract and you request it. Get yourself some extra value before you sell your old phone. It only takes 10 minutes on the phone to customer services. Ever been in for a mobile upgrade and been cross-sold something as you can only get this deal when bought with your upgrade, or something to that effect? Look into it first. WBW plans do exist, but they're ridiculously uncommon, at least for the company I work for. Most of our offers are time limited, but if you want to take a few days to think on it, 9 times out of 10 we'll be able to do it later. We just like to hit daily targets to avoid getting sticks up our arses. Adam Ruins Everything uses Reddit for ideas. Very few institutions get computer security right. The fact that nothing catastrophic has happened yet is nearly a miracle. After working in the travel industry, I can tell you that hotel room rates are often not fixed prices. If guests come to the front desk and ask the price, we generally start at the high end. Most people accept this as fact and pay up. However, if a customer is hesitant or threatens to walk out, we can sometimes drop the price to keep them there. Often there is a bottom line price set by the owners. We can't go any lower than that or we'll lose money. Our code is utter crap and no one understands what is going on, but hey, it works. Whenever you see an advertisement with a quote from someone, we just had someone in the office say that, so technically we aren't making it up, even though we tell them exactly what to say. Software development. You will always be pressed for more time and money. Your product will almost always launch with major bugs and issues. You will spend most of your final moments before going live fixing as many of the visible issues as you can, and subsequent updates actually getting the product to where you envisioned it as you were building. How we fix our computer issues in IT. We turned it off and on again. Seriously, this fixes 99% of computer issues. Most everything at Applebee's besides meats is microwaved. It is against Walmart's company policy for hourly employees to call 911 in the event of an emergency. Rather, they must notify the nearest manager, which could take anywhere from minutes to weeks depending on where the manager is, what they are doing, whether the hourly employee has a walkie, etc. Employees can be and have been fired for calling 911 to report an in-store emergency. Biomedical researcher. 80% of published, peer-reviewed studies are not repeatable. I'm an advertising photographer. Pretty much anything you buy based on the work of my industry won't be as nice as it looks in the ads. We put a lot of work into making something that's worth $5 look like it's worth $50. Accounting. That the appearance of everything is fine is more important than everything actually being fine. Financial statement sign-offs by accountants are becoming more like rubber stamps. Accountants are blessing financial statements that haven't been properly vetted because of cost constraints engulfing the industry. It's only a matter of time before the next Enron or accounting scandal. If you enter sweepstakes or contests, some sites will use your friend list to decide how popular or cool you are, and it ups your possibility to win. Barely anyone in the state of Georgia gets an autopsy. If you wanted to kill someone over the age of 40, all you would really need to do is make sure that they had some kind of previous medical history and that the body was found outside of a metropolitan area. The coroners here are only required to have a high school diploma. Some states are worse, most better. I work in video games. Our job is to make our game as addictive as possible so that we can make the most money out of microtransactions. Think mobile phone games. A lot of our game design is by marketing telling us what people will most likely buy in the game by watching data. Sure, it starts free to play, but to keep you playing and paying, we mine data and make it more sticky. After a while, I felt like I was working for a drug dealer and quit recommending our games to people I knew. Sure, people have fun playing the games we make, but I don't want to hear later about how much money you or your kids wasted on it. In a call center, we're more likely to waive admin fees if you're nice to us and we like you. Also, we're more likely to charge you more if you're rude or patronizing. At my hotel, the front desk person has complete control of the price you pay if you don't book online, and will often try to bump up the price of the room by $5 or $10, anticipating you asking for a discount of some sort. In mascara ads, the models are wearing lash extensions. No mascara is going to make your lashes that long. Sorry. Don't have grown-up conversations in front of your children. They come to school and tell us everything. Everything. I know more about the parents of my kids than I do my own friends. Most places never clean their soda fountain ice machines. After opening a few and finding them full of mold and growth, I stopped putting ice on my fountain drinks. So much pre-recorded music and lip-syncing. Live music isn't what it used to be. I suppose the work I do doesn't necessarily have a direct consumer, but it's still worth mentioning. I have done various forms of biomedical research for the past 4 years or so. My current gig is in a cancer research facility at a university, and I have met a host of interesting characters. I work with medical doctors, PhDs, scientists with a master's degree, etc. Research in academic institutions is extremely cutthroat. There is less and less grant money available. If you don't get your grant, you can't fund your research and people lose their jobs. The thing that baffles me is that many PhDs and MDs who are in charge of these projects care less about the research and more about getting their names on a paper. For some, it's all about image. People will screw each other over to ensure they get the grant first and publish their data first. It is very political. On the upside, I work with many people who are genuinely passionate about the work that they do. Jeweler here, we use spit to set diamonds. Not as an actual adhesive, but to pick up and move the diamond into the setting. It sounds gross, but trying to move a small diamond with a pair of tweezers often results in the diamond flying across the room and into the bottomless pit that is a jewelry shop floor. So yeah, we lick and stick. Don't worry, there's a vigorous cleaning process at the end. Tech support. I Google most of your problems. Good tech support is very well-worded Google searches. If produce falls on the floor, no matter how dirty the floor is, at my store we just put it right back on the produce tables. Always wash your fruit and vegetables. I work in an advertising agency, a big one. When we get close to the Cannes Advertising Awards season, there's a sudden interest in world issues or minorities, topics that usually grab the judge's attention. There are also quite a few brands that pump money into research in order to come up with some half-assed story, usually a short film on how their brand is helping said minorities or contributing to a worthy cause, etc. This is obviously all crap, and all they want is the award and to be in the press, which automatically gains the advertising agency more exposure, and the brand a lot of free advertising too. The research bit? A script that has been completely approved client side, and we have to go by religiously, even if that means working overtime, which we obviously don't get paid for. You can sue a prison for holding you after your release day if they screw up your release, or can't release you on time for whatever reason, and it's like $7,000 for every day you're held over. There is no cloud, it's just someone else's computer. Chipotle worker here, we don't chop our lettuce anymore. It comes pre-chopped in bags. Bags. Sometimes your professor learns about the thing that they teach you so confidently just hours before giving the lecture. Paralegals have access to lots of databases to find private info. Depending on the database, some of us have looked up people who are not involved in our cases. Even when the market price of our item drops, we don't pass the savings on to the end user. It results in a massive disparity between new and old customers. You can bargain with the funeral home, shop around, you can save thousands. Paramedic here, ambulances are not sterile places. Teaching, yes, we do talk about the kids in the teacher's lounge. Any medical profession, i.e. physician, pharmacist, nurse, etc., we all consult the internet just as much as you probably do for whatever your perceived ailment may be. Yes, we go to school for an extremely long time, and yes, we are experts in our fields. However, it is sheerly impossible for a single mind to know everything off the top of their head in any and all realms of medicine. Doctor here, it's practically impossible to get an incompetent colleague to lose their license unless multiple patients complain. I've come across colleagues with horrendous records, ranging from billing fraud to almost killing people, and probably killing some. Indeed, we just did not know for sure. Despite all of us trying to use appropriate channels, such as discussing it with the hospital and with the licensing body, we were met with staunch resistance and refusal to even start investigating. The only way to do it would be to basically tell a patient that the doctor had almost killed them and tell them to file a complaint. But then if that information leaked, we could be sued for defamation. It's really terrible. I can get into just about anywhere with my HVAC work shirt and service fan. Nobody asks you anything. People have their passwords written on sticky notes and stuck to their monitors far more than you'd like to believe. This is the downside to tightening security. It can actually completely negate it because people are lazy. I've had to insist people stop telling me their passwords when they're entering them for the first time because they would get stuck in my head. People usually only keep a few passwords for everything. Car dealerships have no real price guideline for Zurich Shield warranty. They can pretty much ask for any amount they want. They usually ask for anywhere between $300 to $2,000. They usually push this really hard when they have to bend over backward with the price of the vehicle. You can buy do-it-yourself products and achieve the same results for under $100. In retail, when you ask us to look in the back, we don't actually look. We know it's not back there, but nobody trusts us when we just say that. All cheese, chicken, or beef pizzas for Muslim customers get cut by the same greasy cutter that went through 3 pepperoni pizzas before them at Domino's. Medical lab scientist, the pregnancy test that we run for your doctor that costs ridiculous amounts of money are the same tests that you can buy at the grocery store. Those IV bags of saline that the hospital charges you $500 for are sold to distributors for less than the cost of a bottle of water. That nuclear control systems still run on Windows Server 2003. Firearms are actually registered and gun purchasers are kept on file, available on request of various government agencies. My family owns a liquor store. When the economy goes down, our business goes up. Geek Squad uses malware bytes to clean your PC of viruses and charges you $150 so that they can use a free software on your PC. Former meat clerk, meat can be expensive. If something is dropped on the floor, it will oftentimes be rinsed with hot water and sold anyway. I've had my managers bust me for throwing things away that fell on the ground. I've worked at K Jewelers for a few years. Diamonds are intrinsically worthless and they can be produced in labs. Work in the hotel industry. A good percentage of the pillows aren't washed, like ever. I build custom awnings and also retractable awnings. You're getting ripped off. They come in a box from China. We unbox them in the shop so that you think we actually did something. I worked for a robotic vacuum company, not Roomba. The company made a deal with Walmart to sell vacuums at the cheapest price possible. In order to be able to do this and still make a profit, the company cut corners on manufacturing just for that line of vacuums sold in Walmart, making an inferior product. This is very common as many companies want to sell in Walmart stores, so they make a line of cheap crap that will break and not function as well. Don't buy from Walmart. You get cheap crap that's worthless. Not my profession, but most designer sunglasses and prescription glasses are made by Luxottica, allowing a massive markup of prices. Your phone is designed to become obsolete in a year or two. If the hardware doesn't fail, the software will render it worthless anyway. They want you to keep buying new ones. Petitions. Elected officials don't care that you collected 5,000 signatures demanding something. Regardless of the topic, they all just go to the recycling bin. 50 to 75% of television news anchors wear bunny slippers on air. Nonprofits rarely do what you think they do. That statement comes from over 5 years of experience in the field with multiple organizations. You know the big copiers that practically every office has? Most companies lease at least one of them and end up spending thousands more than they should. I have a friend who is spending around $900 a month to lease a few copiers when the actual price of what they could have been leased at was around $400. Copier salesmen are snakes and professionals at letting you think they're doing you a favor when they're actually ripping you off. I have a friend who made a $100,000 commission on just one deal. Granted, those ones take a while to develop the relationships, but if you work in an office and have a copy machine, odds are you are getting ripped off. Pharmacy tech here. We drop pills all the time. We then pick them up, blow on them, rub them with our fingers, and put them in your vial, blister pack, or back in the bottle. Sometimes we even have dropsy days where it seems like all we do is drop things. I work in the prison system, and prison officers routinely beat up inmates as a means of quieting them up or getting them to behave. The warden knows about this as well, but turns a blind eye. Only if you do something serious like kill someone will you get fired. If prison guards beat you up and there are no cameras to capture the incident, you will have no recourse to justice. Mathematician here, we don't know what's going on either. When we audit contractors for screwing around with government funds, aka your tax dollars, our findings are rarely ever upheld, even multi-million-dollar findings. 90 to 95% of all bills and amendments are written by lobbyists or special interest groups. Most groups just have the permission of the elected official to write it and get their name behind it. Your life-saving prescription drugs are too expensive because of the people that make them, that eat lavish foods at the finest restaurants on the company dime and sit in meetings all day talking, rather than actually doing work. They don't usually work on Fridays and are flown to conferences where they meet with other pharma companies to eat and drink at lavish banquets and attend talks about plot together how they are going to try and charge more for their drugs. Casinos can see every cent you spend, every spin you play, and every bet. I've often talked to the finance department, and we would often look at hundreds of lines on a spreadsheet for a slot machine for a specific day and time to spot problems. It depends on the casino management system, CMS, but even payback percentages can be raised or lowered for specific times of the day. The points of the rewards cards are usually at a high ratio of 40 to 1, which is one my old job used. So for every $40 you got 1 point, which is a cent or whatever the casino deems it to be worth. So that t-shirt in the gift shop for $10 that you buy with points really cost you about $400. The rewards card can also track your play more precisely. The monitoring of each spin I mentioned is now linked to you as a person with your address and probably your picture. So if you spent money beyond what you claim for your income, the tax man may be interested in where you got it. Made in America really means that we bought all the parts from China and just assembled them here in America, and that's why they're trash and break down all the time. Physical therapy. You can Google your injury or area of pain and find a comprehensive exercise and stretching routine for it online. We use the same exercises and stretches. If you can't figure out where or what your pain is from, go for an initial evaluation and then Google what they tell you. Lumbar pain, rotator cuff strain, etc. as opposed to dropping $20 to $100 a visit for 8 weeks. That toner cartridge your office just paid $200 for cost me about $4 to fill it for them. Law enforcement. The system is rigged against the poor. Thanks for watching until the end. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video is available. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again and see you next time.